Yeah, we are live. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome, guys. Welcome. So, I want to apologize that we are starting this late. We had some technical difficulties that we needed to sort out, but everything is cool now. All is well. So, we'll be going straight into this now. So, we are 30 minutes behind schedule. So, today we'll be talking extensively about blockchain technology. So Salili is here. Salili, say hi to our folks.
Hello.
All right. So if you just joined us now, please let us know in the comment section where you are joining us from, and please screenshot this, share the flyer everywhere. Let me just tell the guys that we are live. Let me tell them via WhatsApp. Share the stuff everywhere. So we've got Solomon, we've got Ace. Ace, you're welcome. Solomon, you're welcome. Share the stuff everywhere, guys. Share everywhere, 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 everywhere. Screenshot this, post it across the groups. So from Lagos, Nigeria, amazing, amazing. So guys, listen. Today we'll be talking about something very powerful, something amazing. We'll be looking at the blockchain technology today. And let me just say this. This is how I want you to look at this technology. The blockchain technology is said to be 10 times bigger than the internet. Now, amazing Kwesi from Ghana. Beautiful. You're welcome. You're welcome. Share the link everywhere. Help folks get this information, this value for free. So back to, we haven't prayed. Damn, we need to pray. We need to pray. So quickly, let's just say a short word of prayer so we can continue. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for the gift of one another. We thank you for Salinli over there in South Africa. We thank you for us over here in Nigeria. We pray you preserve and protect us. Keep us safe from all harm, spiritual and bodily. We make these prayers through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Great. So that was quick. Now, what was I saying? Yes, I was saying this technology is 10 times bigger than the internet. Now, just so you would understand this, just so you understand this, I want you to imagine the internet. Imagine how big the internet is. Look at everything that the internet has helped us to achieve so far. Look at Amazon, look at eBay, look at Microsoft Word, Microsoft, look at what other company? Look at the tech companies, look at which e-commerce store do we look at? Konga, look at Jumia. And you see that these businesses thrive because of the internet, right? These businesses are doing so well because they've tapped into the power of the internet. Look at the affiliate marketing business. Now I'm not talking about real estate or excuse me, or realtors. Talking about the affiliate marketing business. I was doing an extensive study on this business. Thank you, Ace. Walmart. Look at Walmart, guys. You see that these companies derive their strength, their foundation was built on the power of the internet. And now we're about to show you or introduce to you a technology that is 10 times bigger than the internet. Imagine what would happen to your finance, your future, your livelihood, your lifestyle in the coming years if you can tap into the power of the blockchain technology. And now, one thing I'd say when I'm asked to talk about the blockchain technology is this. I tell people to look at how much the internet has inspired or grown our information prone society. Talk about us using Facebook to share info. Talk about StreamYard now. We are able to do this because of the power of the internet. If you can understand how vast the internet has helped us to transfer information, or if you see how much the internet has affected our information prone society, this would help you envisage how much the blockchain would interfere with our finance. right? The blockchain would impact our financial life in so great a measure that for you not to get involved, for you not to have basic understanding of blockchain would greatly affect your finances in the future. Well, Salili is smiling in the background. I know he's got lots of stuff to dish out to us today. So, Salili, what
Hmm.
would you have to say before we kickstart tonight's session? So, let me just share this.
What you sharing there? Well,
The
firstly,
link.
hello everybody. The joys of the internet.
Yeah. So, guys, share this link everywhere. We need to have more folks come see this value tonight. So, Salili, you'll be using your um. So yeah, you'll be sharing with your screen. Are you set?
Yes. So I'm going to
Amazing.
switch my camera off so that because I can't see anything when I go into the presentation.
Okay, I guess I'll
Um,
have to switch myself off as well, man. But let me just smile for them before I leave. Okay, catch you guys.
okay, so everybody can see the screen, eh?
Yeah, I can see the screen.
Okay, we just need one person to confirm that.
Oh, who can see the screen before we kick off with the speed of light?
Oh, they're typing.
Okay, Ace can see the screen, so let's.
Okay, so let's start. Firstly, I'm Linley. I live in South Africa. I've been in crypto since about 2014, I think. Um, I wish I could say I was rich. No, I work hard for to stay alive. I am actually a professional live sound engineer, but um, I do very little of that nowadays as I spend more time in crypto. And that is pretty much why crypto has become important to me, especially since when lockdowns happened, obviously no live events happen. So today we're going to talk about the evolution of money. And before we get into crypto, I think that the draw card for people always is making money. And
Yeah.
if we can just park that idea for today and understand what the crypto space is really about, what Bitcoin started, and if we understand what money is, then we can see the proper value proposition that it brings to us. So, money has obviously changed many times over the years and decades and millennia while humans have been transacting. And I think the very earliest form of transacting is barter. Now, barter is probably the first means of what we would call trading with people.
Yeah.
But
Can you
obviously,
guys hear me? Salili, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, okay, great. Ace, can you guys hear me from the background? Should I put it that way? Kwesi,
As I go on, or you waiting for response there?
muted, but I'm not muted here. Yeah, Salili, please go on.
Okay. So it certainly worked for people that, let's say, worked in a agricultural lifestyle, that they lived off the land and they would swap as they need. And that, let's say, the chicken farmer wanted bread, the bread maker would give him bread and he would give them chickens. It certainly was sort of the easier way of living because then everybody would trade according to their need. The therein lies a few problems though, because what if you're a cow farmer and you want bread? How is the value of a cow equatable to one loaf of bread? And even if you gave them 100 loaves of bread, they'd never be
Yeah.
able to consume it in time. It would deteriorate. So we have this thing, what they call the coincidence of wants, or the double coincidence of wants, and that is the cow farmer wanting the basic needs of a chicken or bread. And you know, how do you swap for that? To make the bread person live there by you for a month and give you a month's worth of bread, and then you give him one cow. Um, those things did have issues. So they then developed a process of how can we store the value in something and then transfer that in exchange for other things. So you see here you can see the shells. Humans use shells as money. There was a time that salt was very hard to find, so that became valuable. So we see a trend there, obviously, where and we hear this saying in crypto also, the store of value. So what was important, that you could store value in something and that could be traded on behalf of the things that you actually needed. That's how money was born, from barter at least. Now, what would happen then in the gold era, when gold became money? This was the first form of money. And if you go back into history, honestly, I think it's just pre-Roman era, maybe. I wouldn't know the exact culture that started using coins, but I know Romans used coins. And obviously, gold would be the higher tier worth, and silver and bronze would be used collectively. But there was one downside over time of the coins itself, because obviously, if you lived in dangerous areas and they came and took your coins, well, then you were poor. You could have been wealthy before, but they just rob you of your coins. So what they eventually then did was they would store their coins by the goldsmith, or gold at least, and only come fetch gold when they need it, and he would look after it. Obviously, must have had some level of security. That what he then realized is that not all people would come and fetch the gold all the time. So what he would do is he'd have this thing called promissory notes. So write on a piece of paper, hey, Peter wanted 10 shekels of gold or whatever, blah, 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 blah. And that then in turn started being handed around as IOUs. And then the goldsmith realized, wait a minute, but the gold seems to be sitting here. Nobody's ever coming to collect the gold. So what he would do, he would hand out more promissory notes than there was gold. And eventually the authorities sort of figured that out, and they thought, oh, that's a great idea. And that's when fractional reserve money that we know today started, I think. Very soon after that, they developed a sort of more legitimate version of a promissory note. And this was before, obviously, 1931, but paper then would mean that you'd have that amount stated on the paper. You could go and collect your value of gold at the bank. I know I'm jumping through a lot of things that happened here. Oh, it's 1971. But I mean, I need to get to where we are currently today. So, all paper at some point meant that you could go and certifiably go and fetch gold for the amount of money value that the paper dollar had. Every country had it linked to gold anyway. Then there was a war going on, and I think there was some issue with purchasing something, and Nixon decided that, look, for a temporary measure, they're going to remove the backing of the gold, and they made it illegal for people to hold gold. And basically, after that, fiat currency was born, where um, in Latin it means let it be done, or by decree, or because we say so, basically. So that's the value of paper currency, is it's backed by the government and the ability to go and shoot you if you don't obey, or to go take over. And this is really the strength of the dollar, is that they have a military that basically can take whatever they want. Obviously, other people fight. The problem with this is that because there's no actual asset that backs it, uh, it tends to be inflatable because you can print as much as you want to. You don't really have to worry about the backing behind it. And this is what you find ourselves, that in 1913, $1 could buy a whole lot of things. And in 2013, that same dollar is worth 5 cents of buying power. And this is what we need to look at. I'm sure we discussed this last week, but your buying power diminishes over time because of inflation. And now we can understand why, because our money itself is not a good system. It's not based on anything of real tangible value. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a bunch of people in government that decide this is the monetary policy and whatever. And this is not a good thing. I'm sure uh, I'll give that link to Innocent. Um, but the Yap Island, they used to have these massive stones, and the stones never moved. But they'd have these little things that when someone transferred something or wanted something, they would then transfer those stones to each other. And because it was hard and rare for these stones to be made, everybody in the entire island agreed on that monetary system. And it's important that one understands how that works, because Bitcoin brought into the story the same sort of thing. So there's a few things that cryptocurrencies, and let's for argument's sake we just look at Bitcoin. It's tamper proof, it's P2P, it's decentralized, hard coded rules, and mining which confirms transactions, which is what we call proof of work. Now, the mining is secured through cryptography, and that's where the word crypto comes from. But which all doesn't really mean anything unless you want to know why. So, because the best money is hard money, similar to the Yap guys in on the island, and ones that can't be inflated, because there's nobody that can create more than what the system gives. And those are things that were issues before we got to digital currency. So there was a period when we had credit cards. We still have them today, but I mean, in the early days of credit cards, we'd have this machine and you just swipe over it manually onto this carbon paper. Now, obviously, that wasn't connected to the internet, so that money on the card was sort of reserved, but could be spent again. Because let's say I take that credit card and I go buy something by another shop and they do that swipe, they don't walk to the bank immediately after we swipe that thing. So it was, there's a massive level of trust they have to leave there, because the bank must honor it after the fact. These days we just swipe and we think it's instant, but it's not instant. It's still that same process. So when I swipe a card, it gets reserved on the bank, but it's not taken out of your account yet. It's just an allocation there that someone is saying, look, we have a right to that. Somewhere in the day, somebody's gonna settle it with the bank, or maybe once a week even. Now, I know everybody goes on about blockchain and the term blockchain, but for 1 minute, if I can just explain that the blockchain ultimately is just like an engine in the car.
Mm,
It is important to get the car to move forward and backwards and where you want to go, but it's not really important for you to understand how it works. And this to me is why blockchain, people misuse the term. I think it's just how Bitcoin works, but it has no bearing in reality. I mean, you don't really need to understand how the blockchain works to use the blockchain.
yeah, yeah.
So we don't really know who created Bitcoin, and Bitcoin had sort of, I don't want to use the word immaculate conception, but it was born at the time of the 2008 crash, or at least that's when Satoshi Nakamoto, which is the name they or he used, or she, I don't know. Um, but basically, the major crash in 2008 was caused by over leveraging and uncontrollable debt. I think it was actually the property, where they had taken bonds against it, or some kind of product that was underwritten by all the property, and it counted on the fact that people wouldn't default on their debt, and they did, and that caused markets to tumble. Goodness, if you ever go look at the 2008 chart, go look at the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, even gold. It just fell in a day. So that's when Bitcoin was born, and Bitcoin was sort of under the idea that if we create a system where the supply of money is not controlled by any one power of a country or government or anything, it's just that a system that is built on its own, that lives on its own, that works on its own, and dispenses the currency on its own, it cannot be manipulated. And that's when Bitcoin came to be. So, Bitcoin, the system or the network of Bitcoin, allows for transactions between a person to a person with no third party in between. Nobody needs to stand there and give it validation, because nobody needs to stand there and prove that your credit card is worthwhile or whatever, because you just sending funds from you to another person. We can go more into detail there, but I mean, soon after Bitcoin, Ethereum was born. I think it was an ICO in. Honestly, you'll be shocked that I think it was 2015. Anyway, and they brought to the table the idea of a decentralized virtual computer where anybody could work on, and they brought smart contracts to the blockchain. Obviously, the idea of a blockchain was not new, because
Can you
Satoshi
hear
basic.
me?
Yes, now I can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, can you hear me?
O- Okay, I can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah, I
Okay,
wanted to talk a bit about, how came about Ethereum because what's his name?
Vitalik.
The founder of, yes, Vitalik Buterin. He was a co-host of the Bitcoin magazine. So he provided, suggestions for Bitcoin, and the community at the time wasn't comfortable with his prepositions. They were not comfortable with what he was suggesting, and so he thought of, he moved away and founded Ethereum. So that was what bettered Ethereum, and we've seen this as well with
You disappeared there. Okay, so I guess I'll just go on. Look, you there?
man. How about
Look,
now?
yeah, you're back again.
Okay, okay, okay. So I was saying these guys they are connected such that it's the network is bad. Someone was reading a comment. So these guys are connected such that someone says something, someone is building something, and then someone brings up a suggestion, and probably the community is not comfortable with that. He deviates or he moves away and go build his own. So most of the time you see that these are what I want people to understand is these cryptocurrencies are projects, only that when you study this you see a little variation from this. So with Bitcoin, we had Bitcoin originally a store of value, and then Vitalik moved away to build decentralized, to build dApps, and then deployed smart contracts. And we've seen that now with Cardano. So with Cardano, you think they do not have smart contract, but even after they deployed their smart contract recently, it's not been such that individuals or developers can come build just the way we saw with Pancake Swap and all of that, where you can come and build your own project and all. But hopefully they deploy that soon. But what they basically have currently now is what we call parachain, right? They're parachains. So Salini, please continue.
Well, look, I don't know his exact departure point with Bitcoin, but I know Vitalik is a millennial, and millennials are renowned. I don't know if you guys are millennials too, but they're renowned for wanting to do everything their way. The problem the problem with that is that, you know, even though we use cars and aeroplanes these days to transport ourselves around, trains were the earlier ways. Trains still exist. Um, Horse and carts still exist. It's not like people give up on these things. And everybody went at Bitcoin because of the slow transaction fees, slow transaction basis versus the fees per transaction. And I think, look, Bitcoin has the ability to add tokens and all those things on. But imagine what fees would be like if everybody tried to do tokens on Bitcoin. There's projects like
Yeah,
Taproot and stuff like that. But the thing is, Bitcoin has a collective of people that need to agree and have consensus on something to change something. But imagine you building a store of value, a network that must be, what do you call it, unbreakable, and all those things. You can't have a millennial approach to it. You need to have a 1 and 0 point. It either works or doesn't work. And I have to give it to the Bitcoin um, collective, because it honestly, Satoshi Nakamoto, when they handed it over, they walked away. No one knows who that is. And
yeah. We're
if
not even sure if it's an individual or a group of
yeah.
persons. You know, all he did
And
was send mails, and he was, anonymous. Or he's still anonymous. We don't even know him if he's a he
and
or a group of persons.
the beauty of that is that if there was ever a time to destroy Bitcoin, it would have been that period where you handed over and before people started using it, because that was the easiest time to gain control of the network and just destroy it. But given the way it was born and how it came to start being used, eh, I would say by the third year, it was impossible to get rid of it and to destroy it. And given where we are now, look, China's banned Bitcoin mining. We thought that would take it down. No, it didn't. They banned crypto in its entirety. It just goes on. And at this point, you have to look at the amount of people that are using it, and practically every day gives it a reason for being around. So, you know, I'm going to say that while it leads the market and Bitcoin's at 62,000 now dollars, for all the things that all of them moaned about, it's still around. So I don't know why it's because then in 2017 everybody came up with a solution to solve the problem of Bitcoin, making it faster, making it quicker, making it cheaper. And you know what? Bitcoin's still around. Most of that projects aren't around.
Mm.
Ethereum by hook and crook still exists, but it's got its value propositions, but it's not Bitcoin. It doesn't have the simplicity and the usability and the brand awareness that Bitcoin has. And I'm not saying I probably hold more Ethereum than I do Bitcoin, but I don't sit on the fence because I don't know if I should get into that one, but a lot of Vitalik's drive is to save the planet and not have. I mean, it's pretty easy to say, look, proof of work is very electricity intensive and uses a lot of power,
Yeah, yeah. And
while
that is where we
Ethereum is a proof
see
of work network.
that is no, but with Ethereum 2.0 coming up, we see that these guys are moving to proof of stake.
Yes,
They're
so
moving to proof of
I
stake.
know that they are, but I mean, they've been threatening that since 2017 already. So um, the bigger question you have to ask is that are we running out of power in the world? No.
No.
So what are they going on about? They just you see the environmental argument is an emotional one, and it's something that governments use as a basis to control things.
Yes. In fact, I stated this in one of my books, Seven Myths About Cryptocurrency. I really emphasize this point because, I'm a physicist and I totally understand how this energy system work. In fact, we use more of non-renewable energy than we do of renewable energy all over the world. All over the world. Right. So when they kept on emphasizing on Bitcoin mining affecting the environment and all of that, you know, it was just a fallacy or a way to clamp down on cryptocurrency, on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general. But the truth of the matter is, I believe once Ethereum fully moves into proof of stake, it's really going to be difficult for other cryptocurrencies like Cardano to catch up with what is happening in the Ethereum ecosystem, because currently most folks will talk about the price of gas fee. For instance, folks who buy we were talking about NFTs before we came live. Folks who purchase NFTs on OpenSea, right? They have to find a way to do this at midnight, because at that point the ecosystem is not congested enough that the network fees are terribly high, right? So when these network fees are high, and this is what we see in the Ethereum ecosystem because of the congestion and all of those things, once Ethereum finally goes, or how transitions, yes, this is the right word to use. Once Ethereum finally transitions into Ethereum 2.0 fully, we're going to see that the network fee will be terribly low. And at some point, I did an analogy of these. I did an analogy, and what I did was to compare these, the energy it's consuming currently to that of the Eiffel Tower in 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 Paris to a nail. I was just doing that in one of the presentations I was coming up with, and I told myself that, and from what I did in that presentation, I said, if they finally do that, finally move into Ethereum 2.0, they would consume far lesser energy, and that would, make the network less congested, and it would increase
Yeah,
the
but
speed at which
it's a
transactions are being
it's
made
a
and
twofold
reduce the
problem, man.
fees as well. Okay, okay. Wow. So let's hear you.
So nobody debates that it will be faster. The problem also comes in, will it be as secure? Because
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
in order for Bitcoin to be secure, it needs the mining process at least to be there. And proof of stake really it works in a different system to proof of work, because you have these validators and you have to stake the certain amount of tokens in there, or coins,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it leads itself to a bit more centralization than proof of work does. But uh, dealing with the environmental thing is that there's problems on both sides of it, because if we go green power, the drive for green power, I listened to a guy who went into the actual details of it, who was fighting for the environment and everything, and even he had to conclude that it actually is more damaging to the environment to be green power, because let's say you use wind. The amount of wind turbines you need to use takes up 45 times the amount of land than a nuclear power station. If that wasn't the bigger problem, the bigger problem that is, at least 6 to 7,000 birds die because of the wind turbines.
Yeah.
So we must be careful in listening to the narrative of mainstream media when they have their agendas to say things. But,
True.
you know, at the end of the day, their real agenda is that they want to discredit, let's say, Bitcoin. And it's indiscriminate. I mean, they'll do it to Ethereum too if it was a challenge to the financial system.
But I think another thing we want to look at is what is it called? How about solar power, right? Solar power is there.
Yeah, but the problem with solar power is also, um, to get the same amount of power that we would need, the amount of solar panels you'll need you'd have to clean out land to have the solar panels. Yes, you can take advantage of, the best way is to supplement, is to have both. But if anybody here in this world believes that we're going to be fully green, they're smoking some really good weed. Um, because it's
Yeah,
nice to
yeah.
believe that these things work this way, but the reality is that same person that wants the green power still wants to use their phone, still wants to watch TV, still, and all those things have a demand on a power grid.
I buy this. I buy this. Really, it's true. It's true. It's true what you say. It's very very true. Very very true. Very very
So
true.
when it comes to these things, I'm just saying, like, we've gone slightly through the history of money, and at this point, Bitcoin is the hardest form of money that exists. And yes, they might not class it as money, but imagine you knew gold was going to be money before it became money. Don't you think you try to get some of it and accumulate it? So if we understand that Bitcoin is what it is, it makes sense that while nobody else agrees with it, that is the time to be buying. Don't you agree?
Hello?
Can you
Sorry,
hear
what
me?
did you say? I didn't hear you.
No,
No, no,
I
what did you
said that
say?
i- if Bitcoin is the hardest form of money right now, and we understand that now, that makes it all the more reason to be buying it while nobody else agrees with it.
Yes.
And I'll
Yes,
never
but
forget
you can see
hmm?
you
No,
can see
somebody.
those who understand what Bitcoin is now, folks like, Michael Sayor, and this guy hasn't come out plainly. What's his name? Elon Musk. Elon Musk just keep playing with our emotions, but I think this woman, is it Kathy? Can't really remember her name now. I heard she's one of the biggest investors in his products. Is it Tesla? And so she has a way of toning him down when he starts to play with the market. But you see that those who clearly understand this, talking about Michael Saylor and what he's doing currently with micro strategy. In fact, I was listening to him one day, and what he said was
It disappeared there.
hello.
Yeah. Hello?
Yes, so I think I should come up live. So he said something. He was talking about how, and this is when I listened to him and his narrative, I clearly understood that what we do with paper money and all of this is something many people haven't really understood. So he was talking about how if you want to move your wealth, so he has a software company spread across the world. So they had this branch in Argentina, right? So what happened was of course, the Argentinians use their currency. Is it the Argentinian peso? I can't really remember now. But somebody should please Google this, the currency that Argentina uses. Please, someone should Google this, and please let us know in the comment section. So because they do business, and then what they always do is to leave the money in US dollars. So they always leave their revenues, whatever money they make in that country, in the United States dollar. Okay, because of course you understand now the forex market and all of that, currencies change, and everyone understands that the US dollar is like the powerhouse. So what happened? The Argentinians came up and said, no, 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 no account should have dollars. And no, the first thing, thank you, Argentinian peso. So the first thing they said was, the first thing they did was to prevent people from moving dollars outside the country. That was the first law they gave. And after that, they asked everybody to convert whatever currency they have to pesos. So you see, they were having dollars initially, and the government prevented them from moving that money outside the country. And then the next thing the government did was to give a was to issue a law that every currency should be in Argentinian peso. So they had to convert that money to Argentinian peso. And immediately they did that, the government devalued the peso. the Argentinian peso. So they lost, according to him, they lost over $900,000 in the space of say 2 weeks, because all these things happened in the space of 2 weeks. So according to him, he was like, if there was Bitcoin at the time, or if he had knowledge of Bitcoin, they would have simply bought Bitcoin with the money and then moved it away from Argentina, right? So, for instance, I'm in Nigeria, you are in South Africa, and I can easily send you Bitcoin or crypto without, even someone on knowing which country this is being sent from, or without the government preventing these assets from moving across borders. But because they were having paper money at the time, or because they hadn't, um, concrete knowledge of cryptocurrency, they lost such kind of money. In fact, he was looking at buying real estate, but he said if they had invested that money into real estate property, it would have still been difficult or impossible for them to move that property from Argentina to US. And in that interview, he talked about also buying, a boat or a yacht. I think he said yacht specifically. Talked about buying a yacht and moving it away from Argentina and just taking it to one of those countries. So of all the options he explored, he came down to the conclusion that Bitcoin is by far the safest means to store value and the easiest when it comes to transferring value as well. And that is why you see him hampering on Bitcoin. He's one of the most popular individuals who has come out publicly to say that he as an individual and his company is investing in cryptocurrency, apart from what we've seen with other countries that have adopted Bitcoin as a legal tender. He's one of the few individuals that have really emphasized, come out publicly to say, yes, we are doing this. And what I love about him is each time they invest into Bitcoin, he comes up and he says MicroStrategy has bought X number of Bitcoin at an average price of this, and he will come and he will say we have X number of Bitcoin currently, and we bought this X number of Bitcoin for an average price of this. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm trying to say, but that is it. So, Salili, please continue.
Hmm. Anyway, I often get sidetracked with all of this. So look, obviously, why is it important? And look, there's always a shift of wealth when there's a major technology shift, and m- sadly to say it, or I suppose a good thing that we are here is that the shift in money has never happened. Money has for long and forever always been by the powers that be. Bitcoin shifted that power base to literally the first time in history where there is a monetary system that exists that is not controlled by a government, by a king, by whatever ruling entity. It simply just is. I don't really want to make analogies to the Bible, but I almost think it's like Jesus came down and created this thing. The biggest thing that Bitcoin brings is access to people because the Bitcoin network doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care that you have bad credit. It doesn't care um that you how can I say work as a tea maker or you a CEO of a company. It doesn't care. It doesn't switch around and say, look, because of who you are, you can't interact here. It's indiscriminate to that. And that's the beauty of it is that, yes, it does require that you have some level of access to the internet. But I mean, at this point, who doesn't have a phone?
True.
So we still very much in the early stage. Obviously, this is a 2017 study. I think we've broken a bit of market share, and maybe we're about 5% of the entire world in crypto. And I know when you're inside the cryptocurrency world, everything seems like everybody knows crypto, and then you go out and have good times with your friends, and you realize most of them don't know anything.
Very true. Very true. Very true. The truth is the crypto space is always evolving, right? It's always changing. So one needs to keep, you know, one needs to stay up to date with daily happenings in the crypto space. For instance, imagine, and one thing many people need to understand is there are seasons in the market. All of these things people need to understand them, right? There are times when you need to hold, there are projects you need to hold. All of these things are stuffs individuals should have basic understanding of, but it's just it's difficult, to stay up to date with the daily happenings of different projects, Cardano, Ethereum, Bitcoin. It's difficult, and you understand that it's not everyone that would really have the time, the patience to stay with these till the end. It's not, because if the informations are too much, the information too much, one has to keep reading, keep researching, and that is why I emphasize for those in my community. I tell them to really emphasize on fundamental analysis, right? Because it's very paramount. How do you go about trying to study the trend of Bitcoin when you know, or when what happened in May happened? How do you go about trying to, study trend and draw patterns and
What happened
draw
in May?
with the crash at the time, with the market crash at the time?
Well, markets fall. Look, the thing is, if you're buying Bitcoin, the only thing that's falling is the dollar value. Your Bitcoin is still your Bitcoin.
The price, pardon me, the price, and truly not the crash,
No,
because
no,
a
well,
friend of mine, a
be
friend of
careful
mine
when you say
used
the price,
crash. A friend of mine
because
used crash the other day, and I told him, "What do you mean by crash? The market has not crashed. Just simply tell us that the price has fallen." So I guess I should correct myself. They're not the market crash, rather, that
no,
the
but look,
price of,
this is what I'm saying. The price is only relative
yes,
when you
yes.
when you are marketing or not marketing or basing it on the unit of account being the dollar. If everything was priced in Bitcoin, the dollar would be the volatile currency.
But
But
as it stands now, we still make reference to the dollar.
yeah, but
It's
when we say the price is in dollars. But the
Yes.
Bitcoin didn't change the amount of Bitcoin it was. So,
Yeah,
so, so,
and
so my thing is that you should be accumulating Bitcoin because, and let me explain investing in this way. Nobody
okay.
on this earth questions that Coca-Cola is a valuable company, right?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Nobody questions that Coca-Cola is a valuable company.
No, no one.
And so, if you were to buy the shares of Coke, do you expect a major upside in that or a major downside in that for that matter? No,
Uh, it's a long
because
when you.
everybody agrees that it's a valuable company.
Um,
So there is no upside when everybody agrees. You need some level of disagreement. And that's when we have price movement. Because if everybody agrees on a price, you know what? If the dollar is a dollar, look at the stable coin versus a stable coin. Does that chart move? Not really. Because everybody agrees that the price is $1. So if you want to invest for the upswing of something, you need to have disagreement in a market. And Bitcoin is a wonderful instrument for disagreement.
That's true. That's
Anyway,
true.
look, the rest of it is just about this is our company that we realized that it's pretty hard to trade, so we created an app where you can just link to Binance or something and place trades from the app. You don't really need to go in there.
Block Alpha. I haven't heard of this.
Yeah, the website blockalpha.net. Let me just take it there quickly. I don't usually work with two screens, but I can actually look at it on the screen. It always takes forever when I'm sharing the screen.
Hmm. Should everyone be saying this?
Yeah, this is the back end of it. It's like I just want to show you. So I mean, we're adding more exchanges as we go along. It
To
takes
block
forever to load.
Alpha?
I think the company's name is going to change because Block Alpha is not an easy name. Doesn't say what it does.
Block Alpha.
See how it's swearing at me. Okay, so why is it
So
still
I've seen
processing?
FXT. I've seen Binance. FTX rather. I've seen
Yes.
Binance as well.
So obviously futures is closed for us here because I think this thing is not loading. Maybe it doesn't want to show you the trades that we're in now. Anyway, so I mean, it pulls news here. Okay, it's weird. It doesn't show. Fascinating. Anyway, really don't like this popping out to a new tab. Anyway, that's me. I don't really use the site. We use the app more than anything. And look, I mean, one can simply just place a trade. So wherever it's linked to, just trade from here. Can decide where, what, how. So you never really have to log into Binance or FTX for that matter. Anyway,
Well,
I'm gonna
well,
stop
you guys should
sharing.
continue building your stuff and then we'll see how we can plug in.
Yeah, I'm just trying to gain control again. Stop sharing. Okay, that's pretty much it, eh? You there still?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Okay, so I don't know. Has anyone got any question for us? Any questions so far? So basically, today we had. Oh, let me come back.
Yes, please. I cannot be alone on camera here.
Let me come back. All right, guys, I'm coming back. How many of you missed me? How many of you missed me? I'm back. 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 Okay. So yes, do you guys have question? Any questions? So basically, what we did today was to, we had a recap of all we discussed last week, looking at the evolution of money and how money has really evolved. So Salili did well to brush us up, brush us up, and we discussed a whole lot of stuff, ranging from discussing the Ethereum ecosystem, bringing real life examples, talking about micro strategy, talking about what's his name, Michael Sayo, talking about how difficult it is to stay up to date with the recent happenings, talking about the importance of fundamental analysis to your crypto journey, you being up to date, reading news, and all of this. So I think we didn't really discuss blockchain as much as um we had wanted to. We didn't really discuss blockchain as much as we had wanted to. So maybe next week Monday we would go in depth. So Salili shared his screen today. So maybe next week I'll prepare my slides. How about that? Would you guys love me to prepare my own slides next week? If you'd love that, leave a comment in the comment section and then we'll see if we can do that. If not, then maybe we'll just come out with this call. But if you have any questions so far for all we've discussed, or anything that's been bothering you with regards to cryptocurrency, you can ask. Let's discuss now. Do you have any question? Okay. Ace says he would love that. Great, 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 great. All right, so I think we'll call it a night here. So Lily, is there any other thing you'd love to say?
Buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, I have Bitcoin, but so here's my portfolio. Let me give you guys a sneak peek of my portfolio. Currently, what I'm holding mostly is dot, polka dot. That is what I'm holding mostly. Right. That is what I'm holding mostly because um well Ace is laughing. Ace is laughing. So here's what will happen. I had asked a question and he says he would love that. So I'm going to prepare my slides next week. We're going to look at blockchain in details. And then, so I was going to tell you guys about my portfolio. Yes, I've got dots. Now, if you ask me why, I'll tell you to go look around my profile on Facebook. I did a comprehensive analysis on that and what they are building. So you might want to check that out. I believe I sent that into the community as well. So all right guys, so that's all for tonight. So thank you guys for coming. Thank you for sticking around.
Well, I have
So
one more question there. So, at what price did you buy your first dot?
oh I got into dots late, truly. I got in at, was it $40? Yeah, I got in at $40. So it's
40.
not as though it's not as though I bought it too early. No, 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 no. It's not
No,
as though I
then
bought it too
I'm
early.
going to depress you if I tell you when I bought my first dot.
So let's hear you. Let's hear you.
So I bought it at $2.95. It was right after the token split because when dot was first on the market, it was like a 200 and something dollar coin, and then they decided to split it by 100. So when the split happens, I bought. when the split happened.
Amazing, amazing. So I got in late, man. I got in late. So $40 now would have gotten me uh 20 dots at the time you bought yours. So you're in
Hmm.
huge profit. You've made approximately $37 per dot, depending on the number of dots you've got. Salili, I can't I'm beginning to imagine how big your portfolio is now. Oh my gosh.
No,
Oh my
I
god.
still work for
Oh
money.
my
The thing is, I still believe that is $100 token at least. At
Yeah,
least.
sure. Sure, sure. Just like no, I'm holding it, man. I'm holding it. Really. I'm holding it big time. I'm holding the
Well, sadly, also I bought Solana at $5,
oh,
but I didn't buy a whole lot.
yeah. And I covered Solana. In fact, here's what happened. Let me tell you what made me miss Solana. In fact, I bought Solana earlier and I sold it within the dip.
Hmm.
And then after studying Cardano, I and those in my community got into Cardano because of they were going to launch their smart contract and all of that. But the mistake I did, so at the time, I was looking at these tokens: AXS, Sol, Cardano, and Matic. These four: AXS, Sol, Cardano, and Matic. So I told them of these four, and I got into Cardano. Why? I was looking at how cheap Cardano was per coin, but I didn't check the market cap. I didn't check the market cap. Yes. I had to come and tell them that Ace, can you remember when I told you guys this? I had to come tell them that, oh, you see, the mistake I made was the market cap. The market cap is a very significant. So many people look at SHIB and all of that. Go check the market cap of SHIB. That would help you. So here in Nigeria, folks are like, oh, I have 1 trillion SHIB. If SHIB
Hmm.
hits 1 naira per token, then I'll be having $1 trillion. And I sit down and then I'm laughing at these guys because of the high level of ignorance, right? What you want to check really is the market cap because that would yeah, so he just confirmed it. He just confirmed it. Yes, I remember. So what do you want to do most times when looking at projects, even after studying their use case? So for instance, I'm gonna tell you guys why you should get into Matic. So you see Matic, um, we've talked about the congestion in the Ethereum network, and also we've talked about most NFTs are built on the Ethereum network, and OpenSea, which is the number one NFT marketplace in the world. So of course Binance has got its own NFT marketplace, but OpenSea is just the way we would say Binance is the best crypto trading platform because it has large number of users. We can also say OpenSea is the highest or the best NFT marketplace because, of course, most individuals. I keep getting notifications from my PC thoughts. It keeps that's why I keep turning to the right. So pardon me for that. And then I was talking about OpenSea. So OpenSea, what they've done is they've integrated Polygon, which is Matic, into their system, right? So it's gonna be easier now, and this is gonna increase the use case of Polygon, right? It's gonna increase the use case, and once the use case of any token, any project increases like this, if more platforms are beginning to use it, this would increase the value, right? And that is why I'm still holding my. In fact, it did well 2 days back. In fact, it's holding my portfolio now. One of my portfolios. It's holding one of my portfolios because I've got SHIB in that portfolio, and SHIB did terribly bad. for the past 2 days. I think it's coming up today. But because Matic was doing well, it didn't really shake that portfolio. It did not shake that portfolio. So it's picked up, and I believe it's going to do well. It's going to do better as we progress. Yeah, so I would encourage you also to get into that. So one other project you might want to look at is it STP or SFT? STP, I think so. I can't really remember now. But that's a good project. And I don't know why that project has been. In fact, I got into that project with so much money, but it started doing poorly. I had to sell. I had to sell. Yeah, so we've discussed so much, and I've given you guys a sneak peek into my portfolio. Lily has, watered my head by telling me he got into dot at 2.95 Damn, and I got in at $40. Well, I'm still holding my dots. I'm still holding my dot. All right, guys. So that's all for tonight. Thank you for sticking around us. So next week Monday we'll be doing this as well. Today we started very late because of technical issues. We apologize for that. All right. So catch you guys. Bye bye.
Uh,